kids are watching Rudolph, and I just realized I'm so ridiculous because I just realized this is a full skein and a 20 gram mini wound together. I thought I thought it was gonna come with a mini, and then when I opened it, I was like, oh, I must be wrong, but this is beautiful. But I was actually opening this skein to use for McCullough's socks, and of course this is like its own little thing. Ugh. And I was like, this year it would be so fun if in the one of the advent things, I got some blue yarn because I'd really like to make the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo socks for myself. I've made them once before and they looked so cute in blue, and that's just kind of Cinderella-y to me. So I was like, that would be cute if I got, not realizing when I opened this and it was all wound and beautiful that this this is exactly what I was wanting. So I'm gonna wind this up now and decide if I should knit her socks with this mini or if I should do this one. I wasn't planning on winding any of them up actually at the beginning of Advent. I was just planning on admiring them through December and making plans for them later, but this is hilarious to me. Did you say is your favorite? You were looking over here and you said you liked one of them. Which one did you like?
I like it.
That one? You like the black one? Really? That's your favorite? Good evening. It is 7:42. All the kids are in bed and I have finished 2 fuzzy little toes. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. Pull them up over here. So I got the first one done earlier today and she picked out this pink, hot pink, bright pink, maybe not hot pink, bright pink. And I asked her, I said, hey, I'm making a pair of socks for a little girl who's about to turn 6. And since you're about to turn 6, I thought maybe you would could help me choose a color for her. And she picked this one up, which is the mini that came with the second, that blue skein from Mouse Witch Yarns. And she was like, this one, obviously. And I was like, okay, cool. That's what I thought. But yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your help. And she just moved on. So these little toes are so cute with this little rainbow speckle mohair in them. They're adorable. So, and I'm definitely going to make some socks with these toes for myself because They feel amazing, and I'm pretty sure pretty sure it's super, not even insulating, just like warm, just keeps it in there. So those toes are done. And then I asked our youngest, he was sitting in the front porch, which is my little craft room, with me a few days ago, and he was just sitting in the chair next to me, and he's staring at this wall where I have a lot of sock yarn in these like honeycomb shelves that my husband made for me. He goes, Mom, I just really like that yarn. And I go, you too? That's great, bud. Thanks. And he goes, yeah, it looks really nice. And I said, oh, okay, thanks. And as I was helping someone else with their math work, and so I wanted to ask him what one he was talking about so that I could kind of bank that information for later on, but I didn't. I had to focus on what I was doing there. So today I asked him, and he showed me, and it was this mostly black yarn. I was like, really, that one? And he goes, yep. And then he moved on with his life. So I said, okay, well, come here for a second, because there's a little bit of orange in here, and I wonder if we could find some yarn that matches the orange. So he picked this, which is kind of a peachy orange. Pretty close. And it's on a sparkle base. And this is one of the minis that came with the Sweet Georgia Advent from last year. And I was like, you know what? If I have 14 minis instead of 15, because I used most of this for socks for him, that's totally fine. And just like the juxtaposition of like the black and the sparkle is just so cute to me. Like just his little heart, that's what he wanted. So I don't know if he knows I'm making socks specifically for him, but he's a smart kid. He might figure it out. So I'm going to try and finish the toes for his socks tonight. And then that way I don't have to cast anything on later. I feel like whenever I have something left to cast on, it just kind of hangs over me, which might be why I have 6 pairs of socks in the front porch right now, but whatever. Oh, there goes the dryer. So I'm going to try and finish the toes on his tonight, and then I can just kind of autopilot through the rest of the socks. And I don't need to do these socks toe up as well. I did the other ones toe up because I wanted to use like every bit of yarn for those socks that I had from the scraps that were there. But with these, I actually am doing it just because I'll probably run out of time to do as much leg as I want, and have to make some decisions. So that is why I'm doing those toe up, so that if I need to give up, I can, instead of giving them a sock with like no toes or something, if I were doing them cuff down. So I'm gonna have to choose something to watch. We watched Four Christmases last night, and oh my goodness, that was funny. I'd never seen it before. Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, Robert Duvall, Tim McGraw, and Jon Favreau as Vince Vaughn's family. Was, oh, I was dying. It was so funny. So there's another movie that my husband really likes. He says it's a Christmas movie, and I mean, I think technically it is, but it's got James Franco in it. I forget what it's called, but we'll probably end up watching that one this week. But he is working on some things in the garage. He is a carpenter, and so he said he had a really good idea for a gift for me. So I am not allowed in the garage right now. But he's been out there a few days working on it, and so I'm so curious as to what it is. He gives really good gifts, and so, yeah, I'm just really curious about what he's working on out there. But I guess my curiosity will be satisfied in, a couple weeks. less than, because we are over halfway through Vlogmas, friends. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy to me. Okay, now for some decision making. I know what I'm going to do with my toes, but now I have to decide what to watch while I do the toes. 3 episodes of the British Baking Show means that I finished the toes for his socks. So today we have done these toes for her socks, which are adorable. And then we have done these toes for his socks. And then I also did half of a heel flap for my Advent socks, which is great because I think I would really, sorry, I'm moving all around. I think I would really love to be able to just work on the Advent socks when I can, or even just on Christmas, be able to just pick them up and be able to do a stripe instead of be on the heels. Now that it's a little after midnight, so the 13th is over. And now that we're at that place, I don't think I will necessarily be doing a stripe a day. I might be able to catch up, but that will just have to happen after I feel like I've made the other socks be where they need to be. But I just realized that if I can continue with this kind of consistency on the days that I'm able to be home, which I will be able to be home more often than I have been for the first half of Vlogmas, which is really nice because then I can actually knit more. And I got all the yarn caked up today, and lots of prep work for these things is also done, so I might even be able to get more grams knit up tomorrow than I was able to do today. And because of that, I think I might actually be able to achieve these things by Christmas Eve, maybe. I finished those rainbow socks. Oh my goodness, that's great. 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 are done. And then I'm gonna probably focus on the pink socks tomorrow and just even see how far I can get on the one that I already have some attached to. It's a 20 gram mini. It's a little over a 20 gram mini. And so I don't even know how far that's going to take me. I think it will get me a good ways on the socks because they're 56 stitches instead of 64, which gives me an 8 stitch advantage for every round. And then even if it isn't, you know what, I should really just weigh Janie's socks and see how much that is. That way I can more accurately gauge how much this is going to be, because if it's not going to be enough, I'd actually rather stripe it with something than do a color block situation. So I should do that before I make a decision about it, actually. So I'll do that, but I obviously have plenty for the little boy's socks. These are going to be great. And with the mini on his being 15 grams from that Advent, I think it'll still be plenty for toes and heels. I don't know if it would be enough for toes, heels, and cuffs. Maybe toes, heels, and a pop of color on the cuffs, maybe. So that's the plan. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be calculated about this. But I'm just so satisfied with today's progress. There have been so many days during December that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna be able to knit so much today. Oh, I'm gonna be able to stay home all day and knit. And like, I've forgotten things, or I've just been completely unrealistic about the time that I have at home. And so I've just been doing laundry occasionally and knitting and cleaning my house. And that, I think, is really going to set me up for success later in the month. I can get really stressed out when my home environment is extremely messy during really busy times of our lives. So I've learned that during slower times, I should just slowly work on things that will set me up for success. So clean our front room, or do some laundry, or clean our bathroom or something. And that way I'm not stressed out during the day because I'm just taking it slowly, but also I'm not neglecting things by being like, oh, well, no one's coming over, or we don't have anything to do, so I'm just going to not do anything at this point. Because by the time everything kind of builds up and then we get busy again, I have the hardest time not spiraling a little bit about like everything's awful. And yeah. So I think that's just a mark of maturity that maybe it's taken me till I'm in my 30s to figure out. Maybe. But it is nice to be able to have achieved those things today. And I was telling my husband, it's so silly, right? I was on the last episode of the baking show and I finished his last toe, the fourth pair of socks, the toe there, and I was like, isn't it ridiculous that I just met my goal? Like I met my goal for this evening, and my brain is like, well, it would have been really nice if you could get the heels on your socks done as well. I'm like, why do I have to overachieve for myself all the time, even though they're my own arbitrary goals? Why does it have to be like that for me? And I don't know. It probably doesn't have to be like that, but it feels like that. So, oh well. I've satisfied my brain for tonight, and I need to go to bed because I have to drop my son off at sewing lessons tomorrow. He requested to have sewing lessons, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess we can do that. And I thought he was requesting that I teach him to sew. And honestly, I'm just not in the place to be responsible for extracurriculars right now and patiently teach people about that and trust them with my sewing machine. But anyway, he goes, yeah, my cousins take that sewing class, and I was really hoping that I could do that too. And I was like, oh yes, that's a great idea. So he's in their sewing class with their grandmother, well, his grandmother too, all of their grandmother, and she's very patient and she's wonderful, and I am not teaching anyone to sew. He did come home with Stitch homework, and that was adorable. He did that every day. We would craft next to each other every day. We did that for a week, and I loved it so much. Yeah. Anyway, it's time for bed. It's over. Today's over. Okay? So any of you who are staying up too late, watching Vlogmas is too late, and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, I could do another. You could. You're right. You could. You are capable of so much. Also, you can go to bed. I'd be so proud of you if you did that. So I need to translate it to myself. I need to be proud of myself for going to bed, for resting, for taking care of myself. That's important and mature, and I'm going to do it. Okay.